Good morning, dear students. Yes, we have started our constitution. That is the first lesson of the political science, and I have taught about the Indian Constituent Assembly. Yes, that is the formation of Constituent Assembly, and the drafting committee also. Yes, and the forming of the constitution. Yes, so let's see. Next point is preamble to the constitution. Yes, so preamble to the constitution. Yes, so our Indian constitution has combined in itself the best features of different constitutions of the world and has its own preamble. Yes, our Indian constitution, they have the drafting committee and the constituent assembly committee, they have adopted some important factors that are related to the Indian. Yes, so they have borrowed some factors that are included in the Indian constitution. Okay, and our India has our own constitution and it has some features, so let's see what are they. Okay, and the preamble, it contains the fundamental policies and the ideals of the constitution. Is what is in the preamble. Yes, so in the preamble, it contains the fundamental policies, yes, and the ideals of the constitution. These all information are is in the preamble, and it is the sum of the structure, values, principles and goals of the constitution. Yes, so in our constitution, what are the goals and what are the principles that we have to adopt in your life, and the what is the structure of the government, and what are the values, that all are information is in the Indian preamble. That is the preamble of the constitution, and also it is based on the aspiration and ideals of the people of India. So let us see more information about the preamble. Next, so the preamble is a part of objective resolution put forwarded by Jawaharlal Nehru on December 13, 1946, and it is approved by the Constituent Assembly on January 22, 1947. Okay, so the preamble, yes, so it was forwarded by the Jawaharlal Nehru on the 13th December 1946. Yes, and it was approved by 22 January 1947. Yes, and this resolution upholds the nature of Indian sovereign democratic republic nature, and social, economic and political justice for all people is upheld. Yes, so you can see the preamble of our Indian constitution. Yes, the preamble to our constitution, it is very meaningful, and it also describe our political system, that is which types of government we have, and what are the formations, and what is the structure of the state and the government. That all information is included in the preamble. Yes, and it has been described as the jewel of the constitution. Yes, so preamble, it is also described as the jewel of the constitution. Yes, and K.M. Munshi, he has also referred to it is a political horoscope. Yes, so K.M. Munshi, he also referred to the preamble as the political horoscope. Okay, so let's see some important factors of the preamble. Yes, so our preamble, it starts with the we, the Indian citizens. Yes, and the preamble of the constitution, it begins with the we, the people of India. Yes, you can mention here we, that is it includes all Indians. Yes, and the Indian constitution is framed by the Indians, and it strives to fulfill the dreams of Indians. So the constitution, that is the preamble of the India and the constitution, these all are created by the Indians. Okay, and next one is sovereign. Yes, so what is sovereign? So our India is a sovereign country. Yes, and it is not under the control of any other country in the world. Yes, that is we have to a right to making decision any one particular issues. Okay, so and our India, it is free, and it is not a part of any bloc, and it has its own foreign policies and as well as non-alignment policies and 5-year plans, and by implementing which the country has achieved internal and external autonomy. Yes, so our India, it is a free country, it is not under the any country, and also it is not a part of any bloc. Yes, and we have also our some policies like foreign policies we have. Yes, and also non-alignment movement. Yes, that is we have a neutral alignment, that is we could not under in any countries. Yes, and next one is socialist. So what is socialist? Yes, the goal of our constitution is to create social equality and promote welfare of all the people in our country. Yes, so socialist, that is the government, their goal is only they have to create the social equality among the people. Yes, and they want to welfare of all the people in the country. Yes, and for this directive principles of state policy have been incorporated in the constitution through the 42nd amendment that was done in 1976. Yes, and though this amendment, land reforms and the other progressive economic reforms were introduced. Yes, so let's see secular. So what is the meaning secular? Yes, so let's see first of all when it added in the Constitution of India. So the word secular, so it has been incorporated in the constitution through the 42nd amendment in 1976. That is, no religion has been given the status of national religion. Yes, in our India there are so many religions. Yes, and no one religion it is selected as a national religion. Yes, we are practicing so many religions, and we have also that is our Indians have also practicing so many religions. Yes, and the fact that our head of the state, that is sorry, so India is a secular country. Yes, because we didn't adopt any one religion in our as a national religion. Yes, so that's why our India is known as a secular country. Yes, and also our citizens have the liberty to practice any religion they want to desire. Yes, and all the religions have equal status in our India. Yes, we can observe or you can see the Indians like Muslims are there, Hindus are there, Sikhs are there. Okay, so different religions people they are living in the India. So that's why our India is a secular country. And next, democratic republic. Yes, so securing the happiness of everyone is the responsibility of a government. Yes, in the democratic country. Yes, and the problem that are solved through the discussion. Yes, and also the election, it was held by every 5 years through the universal adult franchise. So what is universal adult franchise? That is the every citizen of India, those who completed 18 years, he has right to voting. So that is known as adult franchise. And the fact that our head of the state is the prime minister. Yes, is so who was elected by people by 5 years period. Yes, so that's why our India is a republic country. Okay, so let's see some salient features of our constitution. Yes, as we know, first, so our Indian constitution, it is in the written form and it is very lengthy constitution. Yes, so our constitution, it is in the written form, and the powers and the functions of the organs, there are 3 organs. Yes, namely they are the legislature, executive and the judiciary. So these all organs they have that functions of these 3 organs that are in the written form. Yes, so the fundamental rights is there, duties, fundamental duties are there, and directive principle of state policies are there. So that are all in the written form. Yes, so in the originally our constitution consisted of 22 chapters. Yes, and 8 schedules and 395 articles. But now, so our Indian constitution is very lengthy because all the organs in the that the all the functions are in the written form. So that's why our Indian Constitution, it is very lengthy. So it has 25 chapters and 12 schedules and 465 articles. Okay, so that's why our constitution, it is very lengthy constitution is, and it is also a written form. Okay, so next one is partially flexible and partially rigid constitution. So Indian Constitution has both type of features, that are flexible and the rigid constitution. So let us see what is flexible. Yes, so the constitution which can be easily amendment, that's known as flexible or the simple constitution. Yes, and what is rigid constitution? Is that is the constitution that have special procedure for amendment, that is known as rigid or complicated constitution. So that's why the both features, that is the flexible as well as rigid, is, so these two features are in the our constitution. So that's why our constitution is neither too flexible or not too rigid. Okay, next parliamentary form of government is. So our constitution, it provides for a parliamentary form of government. Yes, and the sovereign power of the nation is vested in the elected parliament. Yes, so all the powers that are elected in the parliament. Yes, and the executive is responsible to the legislature at the center and the state. Yes, the executive, it is responsible for the legislature at the central as well as state levels. And the cabinet shall be in power as long as it enjoys the confidence of the legislature. Yes, so there are MPs and the MLAs in the state level. Okay, also, and as well as it loses the confidence of the legislature, it has to resign. Yes, so there are two houses. Yes, in the central there is Lok Sabha. The members of the Lok Sabha is, they are known as the member of parliament. Yes, and as well as in the state level there are the Vidhan Sabha. Is the members of Vidhan Sabha is known as the MLA, that is member of legislative assembly. Yes, and the confidence of the legislative as soon as the confidence, when it is loses the legislature, it has to be resigned. Okay, next one is republic system. Yes, so our India is a republic country, and the head of the country, so he is directly or she is directly elected by the citizens of India. Yes, and the president of the India, he was the head of the constitutional state, and he is also elected by the people. So that's why our India has a republican system. Next one is federal system. Yes, so we have so many different language and caste and races and geographical regions, and so that's why we have adopted the federal type of system, that is federal system of government. Yes, so administrative powers are shared by the central and state governments. Yes, so there are three lists. First one is the central list, so it has 100 subject. Another one is the state list, so it has 61 subject, and the third one is concurrent list, so it has 52 subjects. So there are three lists, and the Supreme Court possesses powers to solve all the dispute rising between the center and the state with respect to any subject. Yes, if there are any issues, so related to the borders, water, yes, anything, so Supreme Court, it has to right to solve all the disputes between the states. Yes, so next one is fundamental rights. So our Indian Constitution, it has given so fundamental rights to the people. Yes, and no law of any government, central or state or any organization, can deny these rights. Yes, and it is the fundamental rights are taken away or enlarged. The citizen can directly appeal to the High Court or the Supreme Court. Yes, if the fundamental rights are denied. Yes, and these rights are listed in the third part of the Constitution. Yes, so next one is fundamental duties. Yes. So duties are our responsibilities. Yes, we have to make some duties related to our nation. Yes, we have to do some duties. So these are our responsibilities, yes, towards our country. Yes, so there are 11 fundamental duties, and that has been delineated in the part a part of the 4th chapter under the clause 51A, okay, of our constitution. Yes, through the 86th Amendment of the Indian Constitution in the 2002, it has been made a duty of parents to provide a compulsory education to their children, those who complete, whose age is between 6 to 11 years. Yes, that is the 6 to 11 years, those who are children, so they have to their parents should give the education, proper education to the children. So that is considered as a 11th duty. Yes, and that 11th duty is mentioned in our constitution. And next one is directive principle of state policy. Yes, so directive principle of state policy that have been incorporated in the 4th schedules of our country. Yes, and it is adopted from the Irish constitution. Yes. So in these principles, so they are the basic principles required for the administration of the country, and yet the government cannot be questioned by a court justice if does not implement them. Yes. Next one is independent and centralized judiciary system. Yes, our judiciary system, it is independent and it is centralized. Yes, and the courts have authority to give bold judgments in order to protect the rights of people. Yes, so neither the legislature nor the executive has to right to interference with the working of the judiciary. Yes, and the Supreme Court, it is the highest court in the land. Yes, and the all high courts and the subordinatory courts, they have to functions under it. And also we have a single citizenship. Yes, so our constitution, they provide a single citizenship. Yes, because to protect the nationalism. Yes, and the citizen of the country have to same rights irrespective of their place of birth, residence. Yes, and the legislature possesses the power to frame rules in this matter. Yes, next one is adult franchise. Yes, so all the citizens above 18 years of age, so they have to right to vote. Yes, and it symbolizes the sovereign absolute power of the people. Next one is bicameral legislature. Yes, so the central legislature is called as parliament. Yes, and the parliament consists of two houses. They are the first one is lower house, that is Lok Sabha, and next one is upper house, that is Rajya Sabha. Okay, next one is party system. Yes, so our India is a democratic country, and there is a multi-party system in India, like BJP, Congress, JDS, yes, and AIDMK. Yes, so many parties are there, like Shiv Sena. Yes, so like this, there are so many parties, and the which party wins the majority of votes in the general election become that party become the ruling party, and whereas the rest will be the opposition parties. Okay, so this is all about salient features of our Indian Constitution. In the next class, I am going to explain the fundamental rights, and there is a video that is related to the the salient features of our Constitution. Watch that video. Thank you for watching. Okay.
To get regular updates, subscribe to our channel and click on the bell icon. Hello friends, this is Manohar Veera from Exambin. In the last few episodes, we have seen about how Indian polity is greatly influenced by the English rule. In fact, majority of the provisions of the Constitution is derived from the 1935 Indian Government Act. In this lesson, we are going to see the 10 salient features of Indian Constitution. Before getting started, click on the subscribe button and bell icon to get regular updates from Exambin. Okay, let's get into today's lesson. Indian Constitution is originally having 395 articles divided into 22 parts and 8 schedules. It is the lengthiest constitution of the world with systematic elaboration on every topic. At present, it contains 448 articles with 12 schedules as a result of various amendments. There were 101 amendments so far, including GST amendment. Now we will look at the 10 salient features of Indian Constitution. Number 1. The longest written constitution. The Constitution of India is said to be the longest written constitution in the world because it contains separate provisions for states and center and their interrelationship, the borrowed provisions from several sources and several other constitutions of the world, the separate provisions for scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, women, children, and backward regions. It contains the detailed list of individual rights, directive principles of state policy, and details of administration procedures which were laid down to make the constitution an easy, handy constitution. Number 2. Unique blend of rigidity and flexibility. A constitution may be called rigid or flexible on the basis of amending procedure. Some parts can be amended by ordinary lawmaking procedure, while certain provisions can be amended only when a bill for that purpose is passed in each house of the parliament by a majority of the total membership of that house and by a majority of not less than 2/3 of the members of the house present and voting. Some amendments are also required to be ratified by the legislatures of not less than one half of the states before being presented to the President for assent. Number 3. India as a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, and republic. India is governed by its people through their representatives elected on the basis of universal adult franchise, that is, government of the people, by the people, and for the people. India as a sovereign means it manages its internal and external affairs freely without any external forces. However, it continues to be a member of the Commonwealth of Nations with the British monarch as its head. The term socialist is added by the 42nd Amendment in 1976 means achievement of socialist goals through democratic, evolutionary, and non-violent means. However, India follows the mixed model of socialist and capitalist economy. By secular means, it recognizes all religions equally without having any state religion, which is part of the basic structure. By republic means, head of the state president is elected one and not the monarch. Number 4. Parliamentary system of government. Theoretically, Parliament controls the functioning of the Council of Ministers, hence it is called parliamentary system. Here, executive is responsible to the legislature and remain in power as long as it enjoys the confidence of the legislature. The President of India, who remains in office for 5 years, is the nominal, titular, or constitutional head. The Prime Minister is the real executive and head of the Council of Ministers, who is collectively responsible to the lower house, that is Lok Sabha. Number 5. Single citizenship. Unlike federation, where citizen enjoys dual citizenship of both state and union, India has a single citizenship provided by the union and recognized by all the states across India. Number 6. Universal adult franchise. The Indian Constitution establishes political equality in India through the method of universal adult franchise, which functions on the basis of one person, one vote. Every Indian who is 18 years of age or above is entitled to vote in the elections irrespective of caste, sex, race, religion, or status. Number 7. Independent and integrated judicial system. The judiciary system is kept free from the influence of the executive and the legislature. As an integrated system, India has the Supreme Court as the apex court, below which High Court comes. The High Courts in turn supervise the lower courts. Number 8. Fundamental rights, fundamental duties, and directive principles of state policy. Fundamental rights are not absolute but are subject to the limitations which are expressly defined by the Constitution itself and are enforceable in the court of law. The directive principles of state policy are the guidelines to be followed by the states regarding governance and are not enforceable in the court of law. The fundamental duties added by the 42nd Amendment are moral conscience which are to be followed by the citizens. Number 9. A federation with a strong centralizing tendency. India is an indestructible union and destructible state means it acquires a unitary character during the time of emergency. Hence, some experts say it as a quasi-federal in nature. Number 10. Balancing parliamentary supremacy with judicial review. An independent judiciary with the power of judicial review is a prominent feature of our constitution. The harmonization which our constitution has effected between parliamentary sovereignty and a written constitution with a provision for judicial review is an important achievement of the framers of our constitution. With this, we have come to the end of this session and we have seen about the 10 salient features of the Indian constitution. This is only beginning in the series and we have lot more lessons to come on Indian polity. Subscribe to ExamBean and click on the bell icon to our channel to get all the latest episodes from ExamBean. Thank you.